the last generation of the Miquel family, which has been in Languedoc growing wine since 1791, so just after the French Revolution. We started this activity. So I'm very proud to be here and explain to you about what we did. So south of France is very hot, very dry, windy climate, very tough conditions for vineyards. It was actually selected by the Romans to introduce the vineyard in France, and it was for those qualities. It's exactly the perfect place to grow vineyards. Languedoc has this potential of diversity, of producing white, rosé, and red wines with different terroirs, different varietals. Because of the rules, it's more simple than in other regions in France. We are actually the generations, my father's generation, my generations, we are actually the people writing the new history of the Languedoc. People have always been talking about Languedoc being the El Dorado of wines. You can do changes, not as many changes, or you cannot be as pioneer as you will be in Languedoc. Because in those places, the monks, very often it's the monks who started introducing the wines and focusing on quality. And for many years, and have been slowly achieving high standard. And we talk about the monks of Burgundy. The difference was they wrote things, so they were able to analyze what they were doing in the past and improve. And I've been focusing slowly on Chardonnay and Pinot. In the Languedoc, you will find all those varietals. But today we will talk about the white wine. So very often people say in hot climate it's difficult to produce white wine, good white wine. I will say now you have to think in a different way, because in any area you have advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantages in Languedoc is the temperature being too high. So for some varietals, the speed of maturity is too fast. Like the Sauvignon Blanc, it's difficult for us to get the tropical flavor that they have in New Zealand and Chile. It's maybe too hot, but it creates a decent quality of Sauvignon Blanc. But for some other varietal like Chardonnay, Viognier, and now the Albarino, it's quite interesting. Because when you have a hot climate, when you have a dryness, if you have irrigation, without irrigation it's complicated, but when we have those conditions, hot, you can have ripe fruits. When you have ripe fruits in good conditions, you can make very decent wines. White wines are very sensitive to the temperature, because the aromas, you can lose all the aromas having a high temperature. The speed of losing the aromas is relative to the heat, actually. So now with the technology we have, like harvesting machine, you can harvest by night, and this is amazing because you can pick up the fruits from 2 o'clock in the morning, from 16 degrees to 20 degrees, instead of picking the fruits at 30 degrees. It's huge. It's 15 degrees. Try to put a bottle of water in a fridge during the summer in Languedoc, and you will see the amount of time it takes to reduce the temperature. So, this I think was a big improvement in Languedoc, being able to pick up the fruits by night, and also being able to pick the fruits when they are ripe, because with the machine, when it's good, you can start and you go. So you could take more risk. With for the Grand Vin Blanc, picking up the fruits by hand, it's important. It makes a difference. But to be honest, now with the new technology, the machines are making amazing work, and the advantage of being able to pick up by night is fantastic. High quality white wine, and the one which is most important is the vineyard. So we use irrigation to actually help our vineyards and to produce not. We don't want with the white wine to produce too low yield, because the problem with Languedoc is maybe having the concentration. If you have a low yield, the vineyard is maybe too strong, and will actually make the maturation system too fast. So you need to balance. We have learned from experience. What we learned from school is a low yield is equal quality. for white wine is a mistake. You need to find a balance. You need to actually, sometimes it's better to have a bit more yield, because then the vineyards struggle to get to maturity, and you go slowly and you get all the aromas. So you can play with that. And this is quite important, is understanding and adapting your techniques to the situation. And when you plant a varietal, you have to wait for 3 years to get some fruits. And you don't know what's going to happen. This is where we really brought our history, because every time we had people coming to the vineyard, you know, when you make wines every year, you have people coming to see what you have done, and they buy or they don't buy the wine. And they were saying, oh, this is fantastic, this is fantastic. So it gave us a lot of confidence. And we actually invested in the Syrah. And then came the Viognier. Viognier, again, this was in the 90s, 92 exactly. We were the first people planting Viognier. Again, you plant a vineyard, you have to wait for 3 years and you don't know what's going to happen. And the same thing, very quickly we had an amazing feedback from the people tasting the wines, and we were really pleased. The vines looked well, healthy, excellent. And we started investing on those 2 varietals. We tried all the varietals, but those 2 varietals were very, very successful. Everybody knows Albarino? Anybody else? No? So this is actually, people say it's a Spanish wine. If you ask a Spanish person what is the best wine from Spain, white wine, they'll say this is Rías Baxas Albarino. If you ask a French person what is the best wine, they'll say it's Burgundy or Chablis. But Albarino, the history is the monks of Cluny. In the 15th century, he brought this varietal to the north of Spain through the pilgrimage of Saint-Jacques de Compostelle. Important. In France, normally it's quite difficult. We have a lot of administration, especially when you want to launch a new varietal. Like for the Syrah, it took my father maybe 10 or 15 years to have the right to plant the Syrah. It took him 10 years to plant Viognier, because every time you want to do something, to plant something that other regions are producing, they say no, we don't want you. No. We have to study, and then they generate studies, tries, and it takes like 10 years of meetings and things. And with the Albarino, because there is nobody doing that in France. And the people taste the wines are very, very surprised. A lot of top winemakers, they say Albarino is one of the noble varieties, like Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay. So, to produce white wine, it's a bit like the wines we adapt, in fact. We adapt vintage to vintage, and we adapt our technology. We use a very prestigious press material. It's called Bucher, which is a Switzerland French company. This is what they use in Champagne, and it's a clever press machine. Press machine is a big tube closed where you put the fruits and you have a membrane, kind of a tissue, you know, and you press the drain system and you remove the juice. And the whole concept of getting high quality wine, it's about pressing. It's very important. You have to press very gently. You don't have to turn your... Every time you do a movement, the fruits actually make a kind of a stretch, and then you extract a bit like the tins, you know, the tannins from when you have a tea. If you leave it too long, you get... And this is about having the right extractions. And the best for that is the Champagne. They have spent, I don't know how many hours doing research to actually extract the extreme juice, you know, the perfect juice to please to get the best in their bottle. Actually, is a This is actually a genuine varietal from the Languedoc. Sorry, a genuine varietal from the Languedoc. The Languedoc. At one stage of the history of the Languedoc, people decided to grow a lot of fruits to produce huge quantity. And you know, we say in the south of Europe, very often people they don't want to work too hard. It's too hot, so they want the easy life. We have a word in French. It's called tranquille, the Mediterranean style, the Latin style, you know, tranquille, Yugoslavia, like in the south of Italy. So this actually you find that in also the selection of the grapes the genuine grapes from the Languedoc, Carignan, Grenache, Grenache Blanc, Cinsault. It's actually varietals. They are so strong, so they don't struggle from the overheat. They're not sensitive to any disease. So we oxidize the wine. We let the wine without any protections. And this is during the fermentation. And what we do, we actually fine the juice to remove all this oxidative element. Because you can do whatever you want. We have been trying for 10 years to protect the Grenache. It doesn't work. We tried everything. So instead, we sort in a different way. You know, we say thinking out of the box. And we said, let's them oxidize the wine, and then we clean them. There are some fining elements, like sometimes we use bentonite, and we actually remove all this oxidative element. And what is left is what you have now. Fresh, clean. And this is the wine you can open the bottle, you can leave it for 3 days. No problem. Yeah. It's fresh. It's difficult to have more aromas. But when you have removed all this oxidative elements, you have this, and this is very interesting. And what is quite interesting is if you blend this one with the wine which has been fermented as a reductive, reductive process that's been without any oxygen, it doesn't work. This is actually has to be on his own like that. The third wine we're going to taste is the Vérité Viognier. This is actually the best white wine we make at Laurent Miquel. It was very good. A lot of sales in online. Thanks. But the Viognier, he likes calcareous clay. In Casaviel we have calcareous clay, and it's just at Duroc, it's like the Syrah, it just works. Every year we produce consistent quality. And to produce this wine, we select actually, we have 40 hectares of Viognier at the moment. We are the biggest private producer of Viognier in Languedoc. And we select 3 blocks, and we do a specific work in the vineyard. We do actually a green harvest on the Viognier to have this homogeneity on each vines, the same amount of fruits, the same quantity of fruits, and to get kind of a harmony in the maturity. You take the best one, you put 3% of an average wine, you make something. You know, and this is the same in a vineyard. If you have 3% of bad fruits or poor quality fruits in a vineyard, it will affect the rest of your quality. Producing high quality red wines or white wines is all about having the balance. And it's difficult because normally in a block, you always have heterogeneity. You lose this at the moment you have the vanilla, you feel the oak. But you need that in Languedoc for white wine. You need this structure to help the wine to actually age in the time, and then you get complexity, you get a minerality. It's fantastic. The first one is Bardou, 2009 Bardou. It's a pure Syrah from a calcareous clay soil. In Bordeaux, it's different. I was talking about the numbers of days of rain in Languedoc. We have 60 days of rain, that gives 450 millimeters of water every year, average on a 10 years base. Veraison. And what you normally do, the theory is like you go in the vineyard and you remove the fruit which hasn't changed the color, because and you look at the fruit which has the grapes which has changed the color, and this normally means you have a good connection with the vineyard, with the vines, and this is, you should leave these fruits. And also making a wine that you don't drink now, because this is, you know, now we make wines to drink very quickly, to drink soon. Yeah. If you want to make a grand vin, it's like the white wine, you know, you taste the Vérité. Some people say, oh, it's a bit okay. Leave it in your cellar and call me in 4 years' time, and then you tell me. And then I say, oh, I want more, but then it's sold out. But the grand vin, when you make a grand vin, they say, all the winemakers from Michel Roland, they have a team, and they say, we make the wines not for now, for 20 years. This is a big difference. So it's a very, yeah, when you taste the one, they have big extractions or good tannins, and then they put that in wood, brand new oak. You don't take the risk, because if you don't use brand new oak, the oak is a difficult animal. You can have a deviation, we say, disease, then you smell like fungus or whatever. It has to be clean, perfect, brand new. To make a wine, you don't take any risk. To leave your wine there for maybe 12 months or 24 months, and then you go into bottles, and then you wait. You don't take the risk because you have spent so much money in the vineyard doing the extreme of what you can do. You don't take the risk of using a second-use barrel. So brand new, and then the wine has got some flavor of oak, but no problem. You leave it for a while, and then it will integrate. And then you get the tannins from the wood, integrating with the tannins of the wine, and then you have the complexity. You have all those crazy flavor, like the balance, and this is what is a real wine. I don't make this wine to drink in 2050. No. I don't extract much because people won't understand. They won't keep for so long. But my idea is to actually, in the future, is to produce the wine, keep the wine like they do in Spain. They age the wine in the cellar, and then when it's ready to be launched, launch them. Then you need an amazing installation.